Welcome inside episode 532 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains on a game day for the Ottawa Senators. They host the Nashville Predators and also an old friend.
Boro cop back patrolling the ice in Ottawa, and with two illnesses for this team, the lines are looking a little different with a defenseman playing forward.
We'll tell you who that is. We also have more fallout from the Tim Stutzle drama of the other night. And the Belleville Senators get a huge win in Utica, and they are making their final push to a playoff spot. All that and more coming up on the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.
Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen on this Thursday, April 7th. And Pilsy, let's take a moment of silence. The Ottawa Senators are dead.
The 2021-2022 Ottawa Senators are officially eliminated from the playoffs mathematically. Math guys over here. We were holding on to hope. Everyone thought the Sens were going to make the playoffs, but too little, too late. Although this win streak did give some positivity, but not quite enough for us.
The Senators have won 3 games in a row, and if you want to be a hater, you'll say that it was against the Detroit Red Wings twice and the Montreal Canadiens once, 2 teams that are both below the Senators in the standings. But if they win tonight, that win streak will extend to 4 for the first time since the end of the 2016-2017 season. That feels like 25 years ago, but it wasn't. It was the start of an amazing playoff run. However, the Ottawa Senators with the Washington Capitals win, yes, they are officially eliminated. We say it tongue-in-cheek. Of course, we knew at the end of November that they wouldn't be making the playoffs this year, but there's only 13 games left, so I'd say that it's a bit of a win to hang on for dear life for that long. To be fair, the team who's just behind Washington hasn't had a chance to make the playoffs in about 2 months. Yeah. Like the West has been kind of fun. There's been some shuffling at the bottom. Vegas, Dallas, Winnipeg pushed a bit. They're dead now too, more or less. Ottawa will play them on Sunday. We got a big weekend to preview. We'll do that on tomorrow's show. Game day, though, for the Sens tonight. And even though they're eliminated from the playoffs, there is still a ton of reasons for optimism. But do you understand fans that are waiting until the fall? Because we saw this storyline play out last year too.
We saw this exact storyline play out last year. They were absolutely brutal to start the year, up and down roller coaster through the middle, and then the end of the season, they're looking like one of the best teams in the NHL. What the hell?
Wasn't their record after 20 games the exact same this year as last year?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
So, but hey, I don't mind a little optimism at the end of the season. Makes you feel good going into the offseason. And Dorion said this is basically going to be a tryout, and he wants to have his roster set for training camp pretty much by the end of the season. Now, hopefully some major off-season moves, pickups, trades, signings, those kinds of things. But everyone's fighting for jobs now. There's a lot of UFAs. There's RFAs that are looking for big contracts, and these games aren't meaningless. Like, there's still some importance to all of this. So it's going to be exciting going down the stretch, and we'll still stay tuned in for every Sens game day.
Oh, of course we will. Your team every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, plus the postcast that you can find tonight after the Senators host the Nashville Predators. You mentioned that jobs are on the line. Well, if you're a defenseman on the Ottawa Senators, you're seeing this guy out on the ice before practice. Jake Sanderson took his first official skate wearing the Senators colors. He's got the visor finally. This guy evolved from fishbowl to birdcage, and now he's got the visor going at the NHL level. Kind of ironic he's wearing a yellow non-contact jersey on the day they're playing the Predators of all teams. But if you're a defenseman on the Sens and your name is not Thomas Chabot or even Nick Holden because he extended for a year, there's jobs that somebody's going to lose one because Jake Sanderson is coming in hot.
Well, Ross, I think that's why Victor Mete and his agent said, all right, Sanderson's coming in. Let's just scrap the whole idea of trying to be a left shot defenseman. I'm going to play forward now. And that's why he's now in the bottom 6 of the Sens forward line rushes.
Yes, we'll get to the lines at the end as we always finish off the show with our preview of the game happening tonight. Great, great to see Mark Borowiecki make his return to Ottawa. Not only that, but it'll be his first time playing the Senators. He was out of the lineup with injury when Ottawa was in Nashville. So we'll have a little tribute for him, as I'm sure we'll see one on the big video board tonight at the first TV timeout. That's going to be an emotional one. This guy bled Ottawa Senator. An Ottawa Senator for life, if I'm not mistaken, was the exact term that they wanted to make Boro, and then couldn't come to terms on a contract. To be fair, he made his money. That's great. I'm happy for him. $4 million over 2 years for Mark Borowiecki, but certainly the impact he left in Ottawa extends well past what we saw on the ice. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I do want to hit on the fact that they had the 3-game win streak. And just looking back at when they had 4, Pilsy, like I already mentioned that it has to go back quite a long ways to see it. But do you remember the exact games that happened?
Well, I know we were at one, the Rangers matinee game. I'm not even going to try to guess the other games.
Oh, I lied to you. That was actually only a 3-game win streak when we were at that Rangers game. That was the third of a 3-game win streak. No, you have to go even further back. They actually, their last 4-game win streak was also their last 6-game win streak. Funny enough, when they beat Colorado, Columbus, Boston, Dallas, Arizona, and Colorado. The good old days. I wonder if they could even dream of that right now. But at the same time, you're looking for new beginnings, really. And not only that, but there's milestones on the line here down the stretch, and not the least of which is Brady Tkachuk. Could he push for 60 points? He's got 52 right now, 13 games left. We had Timmy watch, which is still on, although looking more and more likely.
Yeah.
Do you think Brady could hit 60 points on the season?
I mean, it's not crazy. Yeah, I think he could for sure, actually. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. He's got 5 points in his last 2 games.
Yeah, he's been hot. And he scored a goal last time these two teams played, the only goal. So why not do it again?
Yeah. We'll get into a little more milestone watch. I think with 10 games left, that'll be a fun topic to get into. Okay, we got to wrap up the Brandon Gallagher, Tim Stutzle drama. Go check out yesterday's Locked On Senators for some emotions. And a lot of people had some fair points on our YouTube channel yesterday that you can go subscribe to, and on Twitter at Sens Central, saying that, yeah, Timmy looks for calls a little bit. But I don't think that's any different than a lot of star players who are just getting absolutely abused. We saw it with Connor McDavid. We see it we saw it with Sidney Crosby. Sens fans were on the other end of that argument. I remember going to the Crosby's first playoff series in Ottawa, and there was a guy with a huge Kleenex box right behind the Penguins penalty box saying Crosby's Kleenex. And I mean, he was crying to officials more than anybody. He got over 100 penalty minutes as a rookie because he got teed up so many times for complaining to the refs. So I don't think this is a new situation. Now, what Gallagher was arguing was him staying on the ice for the power play. But let me tell you this, kids. If that was a Canadian kid, they're lauding the toughness that he was able to get up, tough it out, and stay in the game. Doesn't mean he wasn't hurt. Doesn't mean that he's 100%, but he's battling it out. And I think we got a little bit of that Euro anti-bias going against Timmy. And I don't know if they looked it up that he loves soccer, because he does. Join Locked On Senators. And for anyone who's like, oh, these guys, they're so biased. He's been on our show. We don't make any secret that
we are the Locked On Senators podcast.
Yes, but Pilsy, we've been saying this since Drake Batherson joined us when he was in junior. If you come on our show, we will protect you at all costs.
Absolutely, yeah,
at all costs. So Timmy didn't do anything wrong.
No, not at all.
He might not be able to play tonight based on this. So how does Brendan Gallagher feel about that? I'm sure he doesn't feel anything because he's a rat. And you can check out a couple clips that were posted that we didn't take that long to find. I just typed in Brendan Gallagher rat, and that was the first thing that came up on my Google search. So we posted a couple videos there. Sucker punching Corey Conacher, sucker punching Barclay Goodrow, flopping in a fight so he wouldn't have to take on Brady after injuring Thomas Chabot.
Yeah.
Just not necessarily something the kids would like to see. You know what I mean? Kids are watching.
Not a great role model.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's definitely embarrassing. His teammates may be mentioning he needs to smarten up a little.
Yeah, so him saying that and then Tim Stutzle limping to the bus after the game, I don't know. I just think it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And April 23rd, they'll have a chance to figure it out on the ice. If you haven't already gotten your tickets to join Locked On Senators at the CTC, you can do that. And we're going to 3 Brewers before the game in Canada Centrum. It's going to be a little mingling session. Have some fun. Have some pints. If we get to 2,000 subscribers by then, we're going to do something special. Haven't figured out what. It's a lofty goal, but sickos have done wilder things in the past. So please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you listen to the podcast, just hit the subscription. The numbers get pumped up, and it does help us go a long way. What are your thoughts with Timmy? You think he plays tonight, or what would you expect to see? I believe you'd err on the side of caution with this amount of time, but Pilsy, they don't have any extra bodies. Victor Mete is playing forward tonight with Timmy in the lineup. That's
what I was going to say. I think he's going to play. Otherwise, we would have already seen an emergency call-up if they were that nervous about it, because
Sogi could be a good defenseman.
Oh, man. Sogi on the back end. Yeah, look out for him.
Hey, they're playing Nashville. He's not in the lineup, but Ben Harper 2.0, anyone?
Yeah, no kidding. Too bad we didn't get UC Saros versus Mad Sogard goalie duel. That might be the most lopsided height goalie battle ever, other than a Darren Pang versus someone like
Ben Bishop. There's that iconic photo. I'm actually going to pull it up right before we hit the break. Have you seen that photo I'm talking about?
No, you got to go in a little more detail than that.
So it's in the locker room. Darren Pang's wearing Ben Bishop's equipment, and Ben Bishop is wearing Darren Pang's equipment.
Oh, no way. We got to see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's coming here soon. And then there's a photo of them on the ice together as well. So this is why you got to go subscribe to the YouTube page so that you can see all this hilarity when we're searching up. Oh, those are the Panthers or Predators lines rather. I'm getting a little too excited. Panger right here. Oh my God. This is all time. Goalie friendly show, we have to say.
Panger's
with this
hilarious.
Have you ever seen something like that before?
Those pads on Bishop is so funny.
That makes roller hockey pads look like they fit.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. That's Mad Sogard versus UC Saros. That would look like.
That would also be Victor Mete wearing Mad Sogard's gear on the right side of that. But no matchup of that type tonight. You know what? You don't even have to leave the Predators, because Saros's goalie partner the last 4 years was Pecorine. Pretty much the same difference in height there. But it will be Anton Forsberg for the Ottawa Senators tonight. It will be UC Saros for the Predators. Why do I keep trying to say Panthers? The Predators.
Yeah.
The Senators have played the same teams over and over. They played the Panthers twice in the last few weeks. They played the Red Wings twice, the Habs twice, and now the Predators twice.
And Jets recently.
Yeah, and the Jets are coming up on the weekend as well. So we'll get into all that on Friday's show. Pilsy, should we get into a word from our great sponsors first? And then we also have Belleville to recap from last night. We've got an exciting game. I love Boro. I've got the Boro Cup t-shirt in the drawer. So we'll look back on his legacy with the Ottawa Senators as well, and check in on maybe the craziest lineup that we've seen all season from DJ Smith. Pilsy, first, you got a word from one of our favorite sponsors, I do believe.
All of our sponsors are favorite sponsors, but BetOnline.net, an OG sponsor of the Locked On Senators podcast, we got to show them a little extra love. Now, look, NFL is over. College hoops, it's over. But guess what's starting today? The Masters and baseball. So we got tons of action that you can hit on betonline.net, Ross. From the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, betonline.net is your number one spot for all your sports betting needs. Just sit on the couch and watch the Masters, watch some baseball, get all that green grass television viewing in, and just relax. But don't relax too much, because you can get into the action at betonline.net. It's the best spot for your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. You can also bet on boxing, UFC, anything you want. BetOnline's got it. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and follow the action. It's betonline.net, where the game starts.
All right, Pilsy, the quotes are now coming in. Friend of the show, Kyle Bukauskas, talking with Mark Borowiecki, and he said he got a little emotional on the bus ride to the rink this morning. Quote, driving down Richardson Road, I was like, oh man, I used to live down here. This isn't just a place where I played. This is home. And that seems like a
Wow.
common thread from players who have left. Of course, Boro's from Ottawa. It's a little bit different, but like Kyle Turris. And if you missed the Kyle Turris montage I put out yesterday, check that out on our Twitter at Sens Central. Got some love from Julie Turris, which I appreciate. Something I'm going to try to add to the repertoire a little bit. Get some video content looking back at some of the brighter days in Sens history. I might throw a Boro one together if I can find enough clips for it later today, but what an awesome Ottawa Senator he was. Just a story of going from a 5th round pick who really didn't have a chance to a guy who grinded it out through Binghamton, made it to the Ottawa Senators as like a 7th defenseman who all the analytics folks absolutely hated, and then somehow earned his way into their good graces and ultimately led all Senators defensemen in goals in his final year. Like what a rise to riches. Very similar story to Nick Paul, except not with the trade, but brought up through the organization. And it's going to be an emotional time when they get the video tribute out for him tonight. A little more emotional than the one for Chris Weidman, I will say.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. And the thing with Boro too is it's such a shame they weren't able to make him a Senator for life, because he was just on the right side of everything off the ice as well, right? Like a big staple in the community. Anytime there's kind of social discourse going on, it seemed like he just had a good grasp on where he needs to be and have an opinion about it. Like hockey guys, classic thing is just tight-lipped, give your cliches and move on. That wasn't Boro. He was willing to put his feelings and what he was willing to stand up for what he thought was right, and he made it very public with social justice rights, everything. Like he was just always working hard to be a better person on and off the ice. And I love that story of him in Vancouver, him stopping that thief from stealing stuff out of a guy's parked car that he broke into, and Boro just clotheslines him as he's going by and then brings the cops over and is like, yeah, I got this guy right here. I got this criminal. So Boro cop, he never stopped. So that's what I miss most about Boro. He was the only guy willing to do that interview with Eugene Melnick. Like he sat down, he gave him his time, gave him honest answers, even though it was kind of a cringeworthy video. Boro wanted to do it because he wanted to uplift this community. He wanted to engage with fans. So I think that's a big reason too, because this team, other than like Holden, MDZ, Ennis, like they don't have a lot of those veteran guys that can really lead young men into professional athletes. So I think that's a big reason why I miss Boro as well.
I miss him a ton. I think he was an awesome Ottawa Senator. And if I pull up the NHL's hits leaders since Mark Borowiecki made his Sens debut, where do you think he ranks in terms of overall hits? Should I make it during his time with the Senators? I think so. Forget about
he
Nashville,
didn't play
right?
much. He's been injured with Nashville a bunch. So yeah, you can just outrule that.
Yeah. So where do you think he ranks?
Top 10.
Close. To be fair, he's played almost. Wait. So you know what? I got to make it a little bit more because the other guys have played literally like 600 or like 300 more games. So if we go from when did he become a full-time NHLer? Because I don't want to get all the years in there where he was up and down and you know what I mean? So what year was it that Boro became a full-time guy? Because it felt like 2014, 15 during the Hamburglar run.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, because he played 13 games the year before. So okay, let's put it at 14, 15. Oh, this is gonna be high. Yeah. Top 10, Pilsy, come on.
Well, I was saying top 10 with the parameters you had initially made. So now it's a whole different question. I'm saying 4th.
Would you like to guess one more time?
2nd.
One more time.
3rd.
Yes, he's 3rd. And I'm going to pull up the list of the top 10. So this is hits leaders from 2014 until 2020 when COVID stopped the season, because that's exactly when his career with the Ottawa Senators ended. So he didn't even, just like Craig Anderson, he didn't get a proper send-off. And yeah, these are the hit leaders during that time period. Matt Martin 1, Ryan Reeves 2, Mark Borowiecki 3, and then there's 100 gap.
And he still has quite a lot less games. Like he has 100 less games than Ryan Reeves, the guy ahead of him, and only 73 hits less, math guy. So that's pretty damn good if you're Boro, and we miss him.
We miss him a lot. How about Ovi being on this list too?
That doesn't surprise me. He's an animal.
Yeah, I know. So Boro averaging 1,505 hits in 354 games. And if we're looking back into the Sens history books, his 300 and where is it? I got to scroll even further up here. Why can I not find him all of a sudden? Where does he rank? Oh, that's because I only have forwards. Nice job by me. Quant Hockey, by the way, great reference to have when you're looking at all-time stats. Mark Borowiecki, 25th in Senators history in games played with 375. But certainly it doesn't tell the whole story with Mark Borowiecki. No. The off-ice is truly a part of his legacy. What's your favorite Boro memory? Was it the Yaletown or Gastown shoot or cop?
Yeah, absolutely. That's just classic Boro. Just like, all right, I've created a perimeter. I've got the suspect in custody here. Backup is on the way. Boro cop is on the case.
Yes, I love that. Now, when he came in, obviously the last year he scored 7 goals. Pilsy, he scored 7 goals combined in the 5 years before his final year in Ottawa.
That's what I like about Boro too, because everyone was like, you're getting hurt all the time. You're fighting so much. Like, how do you feel about this? And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go through some changes here. Like, I can't be fighting this much. I'm banging my body up too much. I know I'm a good hockey player. If I focus less on fighting and more playing with the puck, I still think I have value. Like, I'm not just a meathead that's signed to an NHL contract here. I have a lot of skill elsewhere, and I'm gonna start using that. And it worked out for him, and he got a nice payday.
Yeah. He only got to play in 2 games in that playoff run in 2016-17. He got injured in the Boston series and never got to return. So super unfortunate there, because that was the only year with Ottawa that he played 70 games. As you mentioned, injuries took a toll. He was always around that 50 to 60 game range.
And blocking shots like an animal. Oh.
Yes. One of my favorite Boro memories, though, his only goal during an entire season, it might have been the one where he played 70 games. He rang the puck behind his net around the boards, and it just hit a stanchion and went all the way into an empty net at the other side. And obviously the boys just loved it.
Oh, yeah. And my favorite on-ice Boro memory was I was at a game in Buffalo, and Boro, I don't remember all the details exactly, but he was blocking shots left, right, and center. He was bloodied up. He gets back on the ice, blocks another shot, and I think he scored an empty net goal in that game as well. Like, it was just the Sabres fans were just like in awe of what this guy was doing, and I was like, yeah, that's our guy Boro. Like, he is an absolute animal.
Yeah, what a great teammate. Got to wear a letter in his final year in Ottawa as well. We remember him fondly, and I might get a little emotional during the tribute. We'll see. That'll be tonight. Ottawa Senators taking on the Nashville Predators. All right, let's hit this final break. Recap the Belleville Senators game last night, and then look ahead to the Nashville Predators, who are in Ottawa tonight. 7 p.m. start at the Canadian Tire Center. So before we get to that, let's touch on the Belleville Senators and their big win over Utica. All right, Pilsy. So the Ottawa Senators, they're in action tonight. We'll preview that game. Keys to victory. Locked on player. Do I have another Levy lock? Stay hot. I've been calling goals left, right, and center. Maybe I'll guarantee a Mark Borowiecki hit tonight. You think that's safe?
Yeah, it's pretty safe. Yeah.
But before we get to that, let's talk about the Belleville Sens, because as we're going to follow along, this schedule, this stretch run is going to be wild. We complain, mostly tongue-in-cheek, about the fact that there's so much divisional play in the American Hockey League, but this is what it's all about. And the musical chairs, the fact that only one team of everyone that's bunched so close together won't make the playoffs, makes this just ready for a Hollywood finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the Sens going up against the top team in the division in the Utica Comets, and they get a 4-3 OT win, Ross. Gus gets the win, and you love to see the captain getting the game-winning goal. Logan Shaw with 2 goals in this game. I don't even have to mention it. It's just ho-hum. Igor Sokolov, another goal. And that was a big win for the Sens, because an overtime loss there. Let me just double check. I think they would still be, they wouldn't make playoffs if Rochester would be ahead of them if they had that OT loss. So that was massive.
Wow. And when we're looking at the standings as well, they've only got 11 games left, and Pilsy, 10 of them are against divisional opponents. And not only that, I think what's most impressive or what we have to watch for as well is that game against Utica. Like, they're the team that's not worried about a playoff spot. They're the team who's got it all figured
safe.
out.
Yeah.
They're the team that's only got 9 games left and already has 86 points on the season. Their winning percentage is miles ahead of every other team. It's Laval, Toronto, Syracuse, Belleville, and Arundel's Rochester Americans. Those are the teams that the Belleville Senators are going to be competing with. And the schedule, there's no lull. And this, we'll save the tie-in after, but I do want to pull up the standings. There they are, the most recent standings for the North Division in the American Hockey League, sorted by points percentage this year, because as you'll notice, teams are playing a different amount of games. Belleville will play 72 games. Rochester's playing 76. So that in itself, I don't know. Like, is that an advantage? I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether it's an advantage or not. When it's points percentage, it throws the whole thing off. So all we can hope for is Belleville needs to win those divisional games up against, like, the only teams that don't matter are Cleveland and Utica, and I don't think they play Cleveland again anyway. So yeah, they don't play Cleveland again. So all of these games are going to be so massive for the Sens, and they need all the help they can get, and they're getting help as Victor Lodin. It's reported that he might be playing Friday, but for sure will be playing Saturday. So he's going to be ready to go, and that's going to be exciting to see where he fits in on this lineup.
So the only team not in their division left on the schedule is the Hartford Wolfpack, who are coming to CAA Arena on April 13th. Every other game is going to be crucial. Now, the Utica Comets, yeah, sure, they beat the best team in the division. Can they do it twice, though? That's the question, Pilsy. That's their next test on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. And then they got back-to-back games. They're Utica and then the Rochester Americans right after. Luckily, both of those are at home, so that's nice. And then Monday, so only one day off. Then they're up against Laval as well. So it's no rest for the weary if you're the Belleville Senators here.
So this is a perfect transition into the Senators, because Belleville was in Utica last night, traveled home after the game, off day today after a 6-day road trip that went through Hartford, Springfield. Well, I guess they stayed in Springfield for 2 games and then finished off in Utica. But now that they're home, they get 1 off day today, and then they're right back at it for back-to-back games and a 3-4, a 4-6 coming up. So we know that the priority for the organization should be making sure Belleville gets extra games in a playoff run, even though if they finish 4th or 5th, it's literally a best of 3, and take your pick at that point. But are you on the side of no call up is the better play? Because you're not going to have, it's probably even in the CBA that you can't have a player come up and then back down and play 4 games in 4 days. I'm assuming that that's got to be out of the question. So
definitely,
that's probably why Victor Mete is playing forward tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they were going to make a call-up, Ross, because Tim Stutzle is a game-time decision like we talked about, they would have done it already. So I think...
maybe, but I'll put it...
You think they'll play down a man?
No.
Like if Stutzle is not clear or can't play, they'll play down a man?
No, I think it's more likely that you see a call-up at like 1 or 2 o'clock. If, let's say, they get to the rink and it's like, he probably can't go. It's a 2-hour drive. But if that player gets called up, he's not playing in Belleville tomorrow.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So I think that's why you're looking at no call-up happening.
You think they'd play a man short?
They're gonna have to if that happens. I mean, I don't. We'll see. We'll see how Timmy feels, but also like
10-7. The Guy Boucher is shaking.
Do you risk the call-up and not have a guy play, or do you risk having Tim Stutzle possibly injured? Like,
no, 100%. I go with the former of those 2 options. Anything to protect our Timmy superstar would be certainly where I'd lean in that one. All right, let's get into tonight's game then. Belleville, of course, we're going to be following along. Victor Lodin, nice little storyline, nice little boost at the end of the year. Remember the boost Matt Sogard made last year, 7-0 when he got here? Of course, it's a different situation and all, but Lodin had a great season in Sweden. We talked about that the other day on Locked On Senators. You can go back and listen to all episodes of Locked On Senators and all postcasts, because we postcast win, lose, or draw on this show. We don't hide from anybody. And what we also want to see is a great game tonight. The Sens have been playing some entertaining hockey, even past when they had this win streak. Like, I thought the 4-1 loss in Nashville, which happens to be the last time the Ottawa Senators lost a game, like that feels crazy to say, that we have to go that far back for their last loss, 4-1 in Nashville. Now, in that game, I laughed because I'm remembering Connor Brown's penalty shot and us after the game saying, have you ever been less confident on a penalty shot? Now, they got beat by a team that has a lot of star power, but Michael McCarron had 2 goals in this game. They would have won 2-1 if only Michael McCarron scored. That kind of effort can't happen tonight, where he's able to score a shorthanded goal, an even strength goal. And they weren't necessarily pretty goals. Obviously, Matt Duchene got the empty netter, so it was more so a 3-1 game. But how did you think that game played out, and how could the Senators take lessons from it and apply them tonight?
Well, I actually think the Sens played a great game. Like, if you remember, the key to that game was UC Saros just shutting the door. Like, he was absolutely outstanding for them. And unfortunately, he's the guy in the crease again for Nashville. I was hoping we would get a David Riddick showing here.
Pilsy, good thing we are doing this show live at 11:45. Mark Kastelik and Cole Reinhardt have been called up.
Whoa.
So I don't believe that Victor Mete will play. So this is some breaking news, and this means Cole Reinhardt NHL debut coming up tonight.
Huge. Yeah, you got to give it up for Cole Reinhardt.
Do you put him with Kelly? You get that dub line back together?
Absolutely, you do that.
Nice.
Yeah. Reinhardt, Kastelik, and Kelly. Oh my God. They got good chemistry in Belleville. Ross, that was option 3 of 2 that we gave. 2 call-ups. We were not expecting that. So I would say
option 3 of 2.
That's basically telling us that Timmy's not going to play.
No. You think? Because to me, it's saying that, or I guess, although they've called up guys to play over Tierney before.
No, I don't think they would do that in this scenario.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. That sucks.
Yeah, so next game up against Utica, that'll be interesting for Belleville.
Yeah, I wonder. There's a lot at play here, and I guess we'll figure it out. This is how we're reacting to breaking news, because we just talked about you can't play 3, maybe 3 and 3, but they can't play both Friday and Saturday. They're not playing 4 games in 4 days.
No,
with travel from Utica to Belleville to Ottawa to Belleville.
There's no way that's allowed. Yeah.
So, well, would you rather Belleville play short? I don't know. I'm
right?
so caught at this point, but I think the bottom line and the overwhelming story is Cole Reinhardt NHL debut. I absolutely love that, and it's well earned. He got the assist on a huge goal. Was it the overtime winner? Yeah, yep. On Shaw. It was a no look pass on a 2-on-1. So you know what? A little reward doesn't hurt. I think that Cole Reinhardt must be super exciting here.
Yeah, that's a massive moment for him, and hopefully it's soon enough. Probably not. His family's out in Alberta, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is he a Sask guy? I forget.
No, he's an Alberta boy for sure.
Yeah, so that's a tough ask to get them out there for his first NHL game. Not impossible though. So hopefully he can have that happen.
So how do the Habs react to this one? Right, like he's literally missing the next game. You think this is exaggeration?
No, the Habs fans are. I'm not even going to say it, but Habs fans are, no, I will say it. They're delusional enough to be like, oh, wow, that's soft. Timmy's only staying out of the game because of Gallagher's comments, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't even have time for Habs fans anymore. Until April 23rd, I don't want to talk about that team anymore.
All right, well, we won't. Let's talk about the Nashville Predators and Ottawa Senators. Should I pull up the Sens lines, which we know are going to be bogus now, or should I just kind of leave it on? This was the Sens lines during morning skate. This was before a pair of call-ups. So let's do our best to try to plug in the forwards. I'll work it from back to front. I'll hit the goaltenders and the defensemen, and then we'll just talk about the forwards because these lines are not happening. Timmy, in all likelihood, is out. So in goal, it's going to be Anton Forsberg. Yep. We joked about the Forsbergler run, but a team that is so far below 500, to have a goaltender who's 17, 14, and 3, is truly incredible.
And his numbers, goals against under 3 and save percentage above 900, that's pretty good too.
Oh, above 915, closer to 920. Top 10 in the National Hockey League when it comes to his save percentage. On defense, it's Eric Branstrom with Artem Zub, Holden with Zaitsev, and Delzato with Travis Hamonic. We talked earlier, Batherson and Gambrell, both suffering from a non-COVID related illness. So they are going to miss tonight's game. Tierney, I guess, in all likelihood, slots in. So that means Tim Stutzle would be the other man out, because Victor Mete clearly going to be a guy who's taken out of the lineup here. So is this a situation where you just say, okay, like, it doesn't mean anything in the standings? Like, we'll put Tierney up in a top 9 role.
Yeah, probably. I would say Colin White takes Stutzle's spot with Formanton and Brown. Then Tierney with Watson and Gaudette, and then the dub line as the fourth line.
I like it. I'm excited to see.
I want to see the dub line. Let's do it.
And especially, we talked about it last time, and maybe this is a transition into my keys to victory, and then we'll touch on the Nashville Predators. But the Predators take so many penalties. They have over 100 more penalties than any other team in the league, and they play physical every single shift. Talk about matching physicality with physicality. Those two guys they called up, it's not Igor. Are you surprised that it's not Igor and or Roby?
No, because they need him. They need him in Belleville. And I think Reinhardt and Kastelik's game is better suited for tonight's matchup.
So what's your key to victory tonight?
My key to victory is UC Saros shut the door last time. The Sens need to do, you're not going to beat this guy cleanly. You got to muck it up in front of the net. Get dirty, get greasy, get tipped pucks, get guys screening in front of the net, get those loose rebounds. That's the only goal they scored was Brady Tkachuk tip in front, and it was a weird goal from a weird angle. So they're not going to be able to do what they did up against the Detroit Red Wings. So just make sure UC Saros does not have an easy time seeing or having a chance to get those rebound shots. Yeah,
absolutely. And if he can see it, he can stop it. He's been a hell of a player for this year. Amazing. I would say, would you say he's in the Vezina conversation?
I'd have to look at the other goalies, but I think you got to initially put him in there. He's been so amazing for this team. That's a team that they changed a lot of their culture. They shipped out some guys and they said, all right, Pekka Rinne retired. We're going to hand this over to UC Saros and hope that Duchesne and Johansson can have the seasons that align with their contracts. And it's paid off for them. Say what you want about David Poile, but he's been in this game a long time. And
do you know who gave him his first job?
Brian Murray?
Brian Murray with the Washington Capitals. So that tree expands. We tried to get David Poile on the show to pump Brian Murray's tires going into Hall of Fame, but turns out David Poile's on the selection committee. So swing and a miss. We got a note back from the Predators being like, yeah, he's actually not able to talk about that.
Fair.
But come on, bang the table for him, David. He gave you your first job. How is Brian Murray not in the Hall of Fame? Probably a story for another day. You know what's a story for today, though? When that Ottawa Senators Predators game from last week happened, Tanner Jeannot ends up with a fine for a dangerous trip on Brady Tkachuk. What do you think? Do you think there's any fallout from that tonight?
I think there might be. Brady was livid about that. And it was a knee-on-knee situation. Habs fans, is Brady Tkachuk now a diver? Jesus. Yeah. But yeah, I think there might be. And Jeannot got a goal in that game too, and he's a feisty player. So I wouldn't mind seeing Brady let him know that that's not accepted here.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go take a look at the Nashville Predators lineup tonight. Forsberg, Johansson, Tomasino, Kunin, Granlund, and Duchesne. Duchesne playing right wing. Trennan, Sissons, and Jeannot. And then the fourth line, Cousins, McCarron, and Matt Luff. On defense, Yossi Fabro, Eklund Carrier, and Mark Borowiecki with Jeremy Lauzon. As Pilsy mentioned, UC Saros in goal, 34, 21, and 3 on the season, a 921 save percentage, a 256 goals against average. The record of the Nashville Predators is 40, 25, and 4. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games, and their top scorer, get this, Roman Josi, has 84 points in 67 games. I'm not a math guy, but I will tell you that is on pace for close, if not past, a 100-point season.
Yeah, he's incredible. Like Roman Josi, he's the face of that franchise, and he continues to just dominate. Yeah, he's the Norris winner. Cale Makar, congrats on a great season, but
Like
it's
26 goals,
Josi's.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah. Well, the Senators ended Roman Josi's point streak at 13 games the last time these two teams matched up. Who is your lookout player from the Nashville Predators?
My lookout player, Ross, and I just mentioned him a little while ago, is Ryan Johansson. Maybe not a guy that's known for scoring goals, more of a setup guy throughout his career, but he just had his first career hat trick last night up against the Minnesota Wild. And in his last 2 games, he's got 5 points. So he's looking to stay hot here. And the Sens got to watch out for him because he's a sneaky guy. Like, he maybe doesn't have like any one outstanding skill, but he's someone that can dish the puck. And with Duchesne, with Forsberg, like, they've got guys that can finish it. So I'm going to be looking out for Ryan Johansson.
All right, for me, how can I go anywhere but the Boro cop, Mark Borowiecki? And not only that, you got to look out for him when he's on the ice, or else he'll make you pay for it. We know that he loves the city of Ottawa. We know he loves the Senators, but tonight he's going to be looking to kill, because that's what's got Mark Borowiecki to the point he's been at in his career. He's a hit-first defenseman. I don't need to give a scouting report on Mark Borowiecki. Watch out for that lethal shot, though. No, in all seriousness, with Mark Borowiecki, it's just going to be a special night at the CTC with him returning. We've had a lot of these over the years from Erik Karlsson, Jean-Gabriel Pajot, Mark Stone. Like, those are the big names. I would put him, of course, not in the same skill category, but in terms of what they meant to the organization, like, I think the only guys I would say were more out of this rebuild would be those 4 names when they made their return.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe throw Bobby Ryan in there too.
Turris.
Yeah,
but Bobby didn't play in Ottawa after, right? It was only for the COVID season.
Yeah, no, true. He didn't. Yep.
Yeah. Craig Anderson. Sorry. Can't forget Craig Anderson in there as well. Wild. All right. So that's our show. Really. What else?
Wait, what about locked on players? Locked on players.
Oh, we got the call ups, and I got all excited. Good on you there, Pilsy. So who do you have for your locked on player?
My locked on player is going to be, and obviously I've made this decision before we knew the news of the call up, so I'll let you take whichever call ups you want here. But Matthew Joseph, I mean, holy crap, this guy is on a heater. 9 points in his last 3 games is absolutely insane. And with no Batherson, he's going to get an opportunity probably on the top power play. He's going to get a lot more opportunities offensively. So I'm going to be locked on to him, because let's keep this point streak going. Like Nick Paul, he's been great with the Lightning, but not quite as electric as Matthew Joseph has been with the Senators. So I love Joseph so far.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go a different direction. Obviously, we'll be interested to see where and how those call-ups fit in, but Joseph on the top line, how can you not love that? I'm going to go with the guy who will get more opportunity if it is Tim Stutzle that's out of the lineup. It's Colin White coming off an unbelievable snipe in that game against Montreal. I mentioned like 3 out of his 9 points this year are against Montreal. He was in the lineup, -1, played over 15 minutes against Nashville in that meeting last week, but I'm excited to see how he finishes the year. I think he knows how important that is if he wants to be a part of this Senators rebuild. He might even be able to have an unbelievable finish and still just have the budget not work out in his favor with the 1/3 buyout and all that. But if he wants, all he can do is focus on his controllables, and that's having the best finish that he can to the season. So I think that Colin White's a great choice tonight as a guy who might move up the lineup, might get some new line mates, and could produce in that situation. So I'm going to be locked on Colin White tonight.
Nice. I love it. And just one more news for the show before we move on here, Ross. Big shout out to Matty Perth Sens. He is bringing his daughter to the Sens game, and she wrote Brady Tkachuk a letter. Brady ended up getting wind of it, and she's got a sign for him at the game. His daughter Mira is going to be there. She's stoked. Brady is her favorite player, and the Sens PR worked out that Brady's going to end up meeting with her after the game. So just a special moment for a young Sens fan that she's going to remember for the rest of her life. So shout out to her and her family. It's going to be a great game. Yeah,
and shout out Chris Moore and the Sens PR team for making sure that what could have just been, like, we saw the guy in the Leafs, right? He went to a game was so excited to see everyone. And then there's that from the outdoor game where they all just cold shouldered a fan. Like, that's not the Sens. The Sens are a team first.
Brady Tkachuk's playing hockey with kids.
Yeah. A community team is what I meant to say.
Yes.
A community team first, and they recognize their spot in the hierarchy of what's important in life. So shout out to Mira and Maddie for having that the initiative to take and write the letter. And we're looking forward to seeing the fallout of that coming forward, or how it plays out, not fallout per se. And we're hoping that we get a chat with Maddie, whether it's tomorrow or next week. We want to hear how that all came together and how the Senators reacted. That's just a feel-good story, and I'm glad that we're easing off into the sunset with that one. We will be back, though, for the postcast tonight following tonight's game. The Martian will be with us as well, so stay tuned for all that. And then tomorrow's episode of Locked On Senators, big weekend to preview. 2 games coming up at Madison Square Garden against the New York Rangers. There's been a chippy game between them earlier this year as well. And then you got the Winnipeg Jets coming to Ottawa on Sunday. They'll have revenge on their mind, knowing how the game ended in the Peg just a couple weeks ago. So lots to get into this weekend. Thanks so much for watching. Again, you can follow the show on Twitter at Sens Central, on Instagram, LockedOn.Senators, and you can subscribe to the show on our YouTube channel. We're trying to get to the road to 2K there, and we'll see how we do. Looking forward to chatting with you in the postcast. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.